Hello and welcome back to the channel. Just to start off with, just a quick acknowledgement and thank you for helping me reach 250 subscribers. Should be quite a few new faces around, but hello to you and hopefully a good sign of things to come in 2023. Okay, so overall sentiments. This year, I would say so far there's been many more positives than negatives, and generally speaking, I would say it's a solid start so far. I did have a relatively slow start to the year. The first 2 weeks of January were not the most productive, but I think now I've got into the swing of things and hopefully I can carry that momentum through into March. I have managed to stick to just two languages, that being Korean and Japanese, with the main focus on Korean as per my goals video. But I have had the itch to start Swedish again, but I think I'll probably hold off for a little bit, but we'll see. I would say the big positives so far are things that I had aimed to do this year. So I attended the first class of a Korean course. I went to a couple of Korean meetups in London, and I've also signed up for the TOPIK test. So in terms of how much study I managed to do in January and February, for Korean, it's 97 hours and 18 minutes. Japanese, 5 hours and 49 minutes. And that brings it to a total of 103 hours and 7 minutes. Let's quickly cover Japanese first, as there's not much to really go over. But the bulk of my study has been listening to podcasts, and that is in line with what I intend to do with Japanese this year. I do want to do lots of listening practice and kind of really improve my listening. And I did actually start to do some reading, but as soon as I did, I surprisingly just didn't have the motivation to do so. Usually, I really enjoy reading in Japanese, but right now, when I do go to read, I know that I probably should just be putting that time towards Korean, and yeah, it kind of kills my motivation. I'm sure in the coming months, the motivation to read Japanese will return, so I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I also got my JLPT results in January for the exam I took in December, and if you've seen this channel before, I don't have the best relationship with JLPT. Once again, I did fail. I took the N2 exam and actually managed to get 1 mark short of a pass. So I got 89 and I needed 90. It's definitely very bittersweet because obviously I didn't pass, but I did do better than I thought I would. I really didn't have high hopes of passing at all. So the fact that I managed to nearly pass is quite reassuring. I'm not sure if I'm really motivated to apply for the July test, but I'll see after TOPIK in April and decide closer to the time. On to Korean, I would say that it's been a very successful couple of months, given the fact that during the last 3 years, I did a total of 64 hours roughly of Korean, and this year I've already done 97, just in a couple of months. I think that's a positive sign, and I feel as though I'm on track with kind of what I'm aiming to do with Korean. I did outline that I really wanted to focus specifically on improving my Korean this year, because in the past with my Korean, like I said, 64 hours over the last 3 years, it's basically led to forgetting things, relearning it, forgetting things, relearning it, and never really improving. So this year I really want to push my level and kind of see if I can get to an actual decent usable level by the end of the year. The resource that I've used the most is the reading application link, and I've done that for 28 hours and 27 minutes. I've predominantly been reading the mini stories on Link, which are kind of like the preloaded stories, and there's 60 of them in total. Also been listening to the audio that accompanies them, and I've also read some transcripts from podcasts, but the main focus has been the mini stories. From this, I can definitely feel a big boost in my vocabulary and also my general reading comprehension. I'm starting to see grammar patterns that I haven't explicitly studied before and actually start to recognize them, be able to understand it quite well. Yeah, this is kind of a similar experience as I had with Swedish a couple of years ago. I just did a lot of reading and really kind of felt a kind of eureka breakthrough moment. With the grammar that I have picked up through reading, I'm not at the stage where I can replicate it per se, but I do feel that once I do explicitly study it through a textbook or a class, it'll be a lot easier as I have seen it in context already. It's an interesting feeling. I've definitely gone for a more depth over breadth approach, I've studied 57 of the 60 mini stories so far, and I do want to have a bit more variety in my reading going forward. But at this stage, I really want to kind of solidify the foundation of my language, really focus on the basics, and make sure that I'm not trying to run before I can walk. The next resource is Korean textbooks, and I've done that for 18 and a half hours. So the textbooks I've been using are the Sejong Korean textbooks, and the main reason for this is the class I've signed up for, we're actually using Sejong 5, and I did previously own Sejong 1 and 2 from classes I'd studied before, and I did actually go out and purchase 3 and 4, just so I can make sure that I cover the material up to 5. I kind of managed to do that. I reviewed books 1 and 2 quite thoroughly, and book 3 I kind of had a decent look over, but 4 I just ran out of time before starting the class. So what I intend to do is before my next class, it'll be following Monday, I hopefully can kind of cover 4 as well. But I have started chapter 1 in book 5 in my class, but I'll touch on that in a sec. These are very good books, but they're definitely not beginner friendly as they are fully in Korean. And the reason for that is they are designed to be used in a classroom, so great if you can find a class that uses these books, but I probably wouldn't recommend it to any self-studiers out there. The next resource is Taught to Me in Korean grammar lessons, and that is for 15 hours and 1 minute. I have managed to reach lesson 3 of level 5, and for anybody who is learning Korean, I would definitely recommend these, and they're completely free and they can be found on either their website or the app. This is the furthest I've got with the course so far, and ideally my aim would be by the end of March is to reach the end of level 6. So finish level 5 off relatively soon and then push on, finish level 6, and probably stop there for the meantime. I feel that if I do complete level 6, that I would have definitely got a solid foundation, and then I really do need to revise and review and really get comfortable with not just understanding the grammar introduced, but also being able to use it as well. And if I can do that, I'll be happy, but I don't want to kind of spread myself too thin. And yeah, I think it's sensible that I kind of rein it back in, get to that point, and then get comfortable. This is a really handy resource because I can just stream it while I'm doing other things, whether that be doing house chores or commuting, or sometimes just when I'm feeling a bit too lazy to read, to be honest. The next 2 resources are both Anki decks, but one is a vocabulary deck and one is a sentence deck. And these are actually both taken from the previously mentioned Taught to Me in Korean grammar lessons. So you get to see the vocabulary in context in the sentences, and also it kind of reinforces your understanding of the grammar. So it's a really good holistic approach, and if I could have this resource in every language I studied, I'd be really grateful, but unfortunately that's not the case. So starting off with the vocabulary, I've done 12 hours and 31 minutes. I've studied roughly about 1,300 words, and I was initially introducing 25 new words a day, and I did slow it down to 10, but going forward, I'm really going to play it by ear. If I'm feeling comfortable, I'll introduce, say, 20 new words a day, and if it starts getting a bit overwhelming, I'll drop it down to 10, or possibly even down to 0, and just revise the ones I have studied. I started off with about 500 words, so over the past couple of months, I've introduced about 800 new words, and the aim probably for the year is to finish the deck, which is a total of 6,500 words. And if I could do that and be comfortable with that amount of vocabulary, that would be perfect. Next is the sentence flashcards, and I did that for 8 hours and 36 minutes. As I said before, a really great resource, and a good feature of them is you can actually filter them by grammar lesson. So what I've done is study the Taught to Me in Korean level 1 lessons, and then study the level 1 example sentences. Then do level 2 and keep going in that respect. So once I finish level 5, I can then revise the level 5 grammar sentences, and I can keep doing that up until I believe there's 10 levels. But it's a good way of making sure that you're studying the appropriate sentences for the appropriate level you've actually studied. The next one is actually a new one for me, and that is K-dramas, and I did that for 4 hours and 47 minutes. I've started to watch Boys Over Flowers, which is a very famous K-drama, It's also a J-drama, and I think it's made in a few other languages as well, but pretty well known. As I said, this is the first drama I've watched, and initially I was quite reluctant to even watch any dramas, as I did know it would be very difficult to understand. It's probably, and is, way above my level, but I think there's definitely benefits to doing it at this stage. I'd say the big benefit is just hearing Korean that native speakers consume, and just getting kind of that general exposure to a natural speed Korean. I've been watching the show with obviously Korean audio, but also with Korean subtitles. At this stage, my reading speed isn't quick enough to actually keep up with the subtitles, and my listening is also not good enough to keep up with the audio. But together, and through obviously visual context and the context that's on the screen in general, I can follow the story, but I still need to adjust a bit more and obviously improve to fully follow the show. At this stage, I'm really trying to just gauge what I can and can't get from the dramas, but I think if I do stick to it and obviously study in the meantime, there'll be more and more benefit as I go along. And this definitely won't be a main resource that I'm using, but it is something that I need to kind of gradually get into. And it's something that will be fun and definitely rewarding further down the line. So next up is TOPIK past papers, and I did that for 3 hours and 27 minutes. TOPIK being the test of proficiency in Korean, which is like the standardized test for Korean learners. I think that's just a generally obviously good way to prep for the tests. And in April, I am aiming to take TOPIK 2, which covers levels 3 to 6, and I will be looking to pass level 3. But at this stage, I've actually been taking the past papers and reviewing levels 1 and 2. And the reason for this is, yes, I did pass level 2 in October, but I didn't get a perfect score by any means. So there's still some gaps in my knowledge, and it's just a generally good way of studying, I think, because not only am I kind of getting used to the test format, it's also a very different way of thinking when reading. The scores I'm getting now on the tests are actually higher than the result I got in October, so I do feel as though my language is improving, and this is quite a rare, kind of tangible way of actually kind of measuring that, so it's rewarding in that way too. So next up is Korean classes, and I've actually done one lesson so far, so that was for 2 hours and 8 minutes. So this was actually quite a traumatic experience. As I mentioned earlier, the book we're using is Sejong 5, and in the build up to the class, I didn't quite finish Sejong 4, so I felt really unprepared and really kind of nervous going into it. And this is an online class, so I joined the Zoom call, and we were kind of going through self-introductions in alphabetical order, and as it was getting closer to my name, I actually felt very tempted just to leave the call, quit the class, and just essentially run away. But thankfully I didn't do that. I did manage to survive and get through the class, although it is probably a bit above my level, and I would say I'm probably one of the weaker students. But I think if I stick to it, the class is for 15 weeks, so I've got 15 weeks to catch up, feel more comfortable, and it's just a good way to kind of direct my studies and kind of keep me motivated, but also keep me on track. So I'm glad I signed up for it in the end, and I'm glad I didn't run away. But we'll see how it goes in the next few weeks. The main thing it puts into perspective is just my really limited speaking skills at this stage. So it's something I really do need to work on, and hopefully this is a good actually source of practice for me. Next up is podcasts for 2 hours and 2 minutes. These podcasts are aimed at non-native speakers, so they're kind of like a beginner, maybe lower intermediate level, but they're really enjoyable. Listening is something that I have struggled with in Korean in the past, and it's something that I definitely need to push. There are actually a good variety of podcasts available. There's the ones I'm listening to now, but there's also plenty of others. There's some more difficult ones for when I get a bit better. But it's a really fun thing to do, and it's a great feeling being able to listen to 10 minutes of a podcast and actually be able to follow it and understand. So it feels good, it's good practice, so I definitely want to do more kind of listening to podcasts in the future, and hopefully it can become one of my main resources. Next up is Korean meetups. The meetups last around about 2 hours each, but in terms of me actually speaking Korean and using Korean, probably about half an hour each, and I've been twice. So I calculate it at around about an hour. There's basically a couple of hours every other week in a coffee shop in London, and so you've got native Korean speakers, learners of Korean, and basically it's in a sense more social. The first week I was a bit shy and a bit reluctant to speak, but especially the second week I did get a bit more into the swing of things. The Korean people there are really supportive and really encouraging and getting me and others to speak in Korean, so that's a really good thing. And I feel that if I keep going there, hopefully can make some friends and hopefully just gain more confidence in speaking, and that will help benefit me obviously just generally with my Korean, but also for stuff like my class. And it's just fun to do something a bit different as well, meet people, try new food. It's fun to not just be kind of stuck at a desk, reading a textbook, doing flashcards. So it adds a bit of variety and just general fun. Next up is a textbook specifically for TOPIK. And I've only done about half an hour so far. And it was pretty much just to gauge what kind of stuff's actually going to be in the level 3. Just a quick glance over everything, and this is something I need to use next month a lot. I'll have about 5 weeks to prepare for the test, so this is going to be one of my main resources going into March. But as of now, I've pretty much just had a quick glance. Last but not least is Korean YouTube videos. This is something I've only done for 19 minutes so far, and the main thing is, as I said before, with Korean dramas, my listening comprehension just isn't quite there yet. But a big thing also is that I just haven't really found any channels that I've really resonated with. Once I do find a few more channels that I like and also get a bit better at kind of listening to Korean, hopefully I can replace, because I do consume a lot of YouTube in English, hopefully I can replace some of that content with Korean content, and instead of feeling like study, it can kind of just feel like a natural part of my day. I'm a long way off from that, but it's something to look forward to in the future. So overall, I would say the last 2 months have been a really positive start to the year. I definitely need to do more going into March. I've got TOPIK coming up in April, so there's going to be a lot of specific study towards that. I've got the rest of my classes to prep for each week, so that will keep me busy. But overall, I do need to do more study. My aim for the year is to do around about 1,000 hours of Korean. So I definitely need to, I'm not quite on pace to do that if I keep going as I have been. So more study, but also I've got quite specific things to actually study for. So I think the motivation's there and the momentum's there, and I really just need to keep that going and keep that going moving forward. This has been quite a long one, so thank you for bearing with me. Hopefully see you for March's update. And yeah, hopefully I can stick to what I plan to do and do a lot more between now and then. But thank you once again for listening, and see you in the next one.